Is what we see on TV real? I'm Ellie, someone who knows nothing about law enforcement.
And I'm Steve, a former police detective.
Join me as we check out policing representation.
Ellen, what are you going to show me?
So first we're going to watch a scene from Sherlock, the Reichenbach Fools. And in this scene, Moriarty, who's like the big bad consulting criminal, steals the crown jewels through using an app that basically, it's like a key. It unlocks all doors everywhere. And that's a thing that apparently criminals can do now.
Okay, so this Moriarty fella's got an app on his phone, presumably, that can unlock all doors.
Yeah. So anywhere he wants to steal, he just... Yeah.
So I don't know what this is. So this is like a security room. Everyone's running out.
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
So there's a bunch of armed cops somewhere. They've come from somewhere while he's smashing the window with a fire extinguisher.
Immediately get the armed guard in.
And
plain police car.
so why would a plain police car be there other than it's a bit sexier than a marked up police car? So he's now sat in a chair holding onto some stuff.
Yeah. There's a bit just before where the Detective Lestrade and Sally, who is also a detective, is in the car and it comes through on the radio. And she says there's a burglary, and he says, I don't do burglaries. And she says, you'll want this one. And then they just turn up. Is that how that works?
Well, it's kind of how it works. There's not many detectives go driving around listening to police radios. It's one of the reasons you become a detective, so you haven't got to listen to all that kind of stuff. So he's like a senior detective, and what he does is instead of going to do what he's doing, he goes and responds to a burglary. Oh, well, that's nonsense, really. It's unlikely he'd be going there. But I haven't said that it's not very often people steal the crown jewels, so I kind of guess that everybody might be kind of mobilised to do that. Were there any guns involved in this before? Did anyone have any guns?
So John has a gun, an illegal gun, that the police see him use all the time and are sort of fine with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
He keeps it down the back of his jeans, which stresses me out a bit because it's like just in his underwear.
Literally, yeah. It's a hygiene issue there, and there's also a shoot your arse off issue, presumably, that could be problematic. But maybe it's better than having it down the front of your trousers. I don't know. But were there any guns used by any of the baddies?
In this scene, no.
Armed cops don't normally get sent to stuff unless there's...
No, he goes through a detector. He goes through a metal detector. So the only thing he has a little diamond that he puts on a piece of gum, and then he puts that onto the fire extinguisher and he uses that to smash. That's the only weapon he has.
Oh, right, okay. So it'd be unusual to be sort of sending whole loads of armed cops to something that was basically somebody smashing a window. I'm just concerned about the fact that this is like a really secure control room, and there's one completely unprepared guy that basically gets squirted in the face. And that's the most concerning part of this, I think. Where's his backup? Why is he on his own? Because I can see that's an area of vulnerability. But then that's what Moriarty clearly saw. So, fair play to him. So what does he know? Does something happen after this? How come he's able to have the time to sit in the chair?
So he wants to be arrested. His whole thing in this episode is that he's trying to discredit Sherlock Holmes, and to do that, he gets himself arrested and then bribes the jury so that he won't actually be in jail.
Okay, well, he's kind of going the right way around it. But I mean, I reckon he could probably have got himself arrested without going through quite so much of aggravation. Maybe he could have just given that cop, instead of squirting him in the face, just give him a wedgie or something. He would probably got arrested in the same way.
Really?
Yeah. If someone had wedgied me, I would probably have been thinking about arresting him.
So would that be a burglary, or would it be, presuming that he got away with it? Because I don't know. Is it not a burglary now that because he's not taken anything, he's just got in?
Well, a burglary is you entering as a trespasser with intent to steal. That would probably fit the definition of this. Having said that, because he squirted matey boy in the face with a deodorant or whatever it was, that would be using force on a person in order to steal. So it would probably fall more squarely into the definition of robbery rather than burglary. There's certainly a burglary there. The question is whether or not it also amounts to a robbery, which is a slightly more serious offence because of the use of violence. As soon as he used force on that kind of inept dude in the control room in order to commit the offence of theft, then it becomes a robbery. Having said that, if he's not stolen anything, it would then amount to an attempted robbery. So there's an interesting one. He's probably definitely committed a substantive burglary, and he's probably committed an attempted robbery. If his intention is to get arrested because somebody thinks he's going to do a burglary, and as in he was going to steal something, and he never actually was, then he's probably only guilty of assaulting that cop and criminal damage when he smashed the window.
So not as big of a deal as he maybe thinks, because he doesn't want to take it away. He just wants to dress up.
There's no offences of dressing up. There's offences against taste and dignity, but there's no actual criminal offences of sitting in a chair, wearing a crown and wrapping yourself in ermine. I think that's probably all right. There's probably not really much in here. I think you probably get away with a caution.
Moriarty wants to go all the way to big jail, and he's just like put off with a slap on the wrist. I love that.
Well, he could have got restorative justice, where he's just got to go and say sorry to somebody and write a letter. So that was something that we used to do for criminal damage. So, dear Mrs. Windsor, I'm sorry you smashed your window. I'll not do it again. Love and kisses, Moriarty. Maybe they'd meet up. Yeah, well, she'd say how upset she was, and he'd say, I'm really sorry. I mean, his mum would probably be there as well if it was restorative justice. And she'd say sorry to the lady. And she'd say, I'm so embarrassed. Liz would probably say, well, I've got plenty of those anyway, so it's all right. He seems to be quite sorry.
I like this new take on Sherlock Holmes.
Well, I mean, why lock people in prison? If this is what the bloke wants, then that's absolutely the last thing we want to do. So let's keep him in the community. Let's rehabilitate him, I would have said, rather than lock him away.